If you want to learn how to make the best waffles you've ever tasted, then you need to watch this video. My name is Tessa and I'm from HandleTheHeat.com, where I love to share homemade baking recipes and kitchen tips and tricks, and today I could not be more excited to be showing you how to make the best Belgian Liege waffles. These waffles are absolutely out of this world, and usually when we make waffles, we make a batter, but with this recipe, we're actually going to be making a dough with yeast and with pearl sugar. And the pearl sugar is really what elevates these waffles to a whole new level. They have bites of crunchy caramelized sugar throughout, but are super light and fluffy inside, and you can make them totally decadent and over the top with any toppings, fruits, candies, whipped cream, ice cream, whatever your heart desires. It's totally customizable. So if you want to learn how to make the best Belgian Liege waffles, be sure to watch this video all the way to the end for my best tips and tricks. So to get started, in the bowl of my stand mixer, I'm adding half a cup of lukewarm whole milk, a third a cup of lukewarm water, 2 large eggs, which I've just beaten, and those are at room temperature, 3 teaspoons of instant yeast, and if you click on my site in the description box below, I'll have tips on how you can substitute active dry yeast for the instant yeast. I also added in 2 tablespoons of honey and 3 tablespoons of light brown sugar, a splash of vanilla, and lastly 3/4 teaspoon of fine salt. I'm just going to give this a good stir and then begin gradually adding in 3 2/3 cups of bread flour. Now you can use all-purpose flour here, but I prefer bread flour because I think it gives the waffles better structure and shape and a better chewy texture. I added in all but 1 cup of my bread flour because we're going to add in that last cup later on. But with the dough hook, I'm just getting started on bringing the dough together into a cohesive ball. And once it comes together, I actually have 2 sticks of unsalted butter, which are cubed and at room temperature. And I'm going to slowly add 1 piece of butter at a time, mixing and letting it incorporate before I add the next piece. If you've ever made brioche, this is kind of the same method. This is really what's going to give the waffles a super rich and flavorful taste and texture. And it does take a little bit of patience because it's kind of a long process, but it is so worth it. And this is also actually the reason why I much prefer to make this dough in a stand mixer as opposed to doing it by hand. It's much easier to make in a stand mixer. So as you can see, the dough is starting to come together. I'm just going to add the remaining cubes of butter until they're all gone, and then add in my remaining 1 cup of bread flour. I'm going to knead this on low speed until the dough is smooth and elastic, and this will take about another 5 minutes. So it's quite a long kneading process, but again, it is so worth it. Once that's all done, I'm going to remove my dough to a lightly greased bowl, cover it, and let it rise until doubled. It'll take about 2 hours depending on the temperature of your kitchen. Once it's doubled, I'm actually going to press it down, punch it down, cover it again with plastic wrap, and let it sit in the fridge overnight or up to 24 hours. Again, this is kind of a recipe where you need a little bit more time and patience, but it is such a fun weekend baking project. So into the fridge that goes, and the next step after the 24-hour period or the overnight period in the fridge is to add in pearl sugar. Now this is Belgian pearl sugar. We're adding in 1.5 cups, and this is pretty difficult to find, so Amazon is probably going to be your best bet, but you can also use sugar cubes that you've broken up into pieces. So it might seem like a lot of pearl sugar, but it will all get kneaded into the dough, and you do need to use all of it to get the best texture. What happens is the pearl sugar kind of caramelizes as the waffles cook, and you just get these bits of kind of crunchy caramelized sugar in every bite of every waffle, and it's absolutely amazing. It's what makes these so good. So now I'm just cutting the dough up into 10 equal pieces, and I'm going to roll each piece into a nice ball. And this is actually exactly what the dough looks like. It's kind of strange to cook a dough waffle instead of like a waffle made from batter, but it's pretty cool and it gives you such a unique texture. It's kind of a combination of bread meets waffle meets caramel. It's absolutely amazing if you've never had it before. So when you're ready to cook, just preheat a Belgian waffle iron, and each waffle will take about 4 to 5 minutes to cook. If you are planning on freezing these for later, you'll want to cook them for about a minute less so that when you reheat them, they don't get overcooked. And as you continue to cook the waffles, sugar will develop in your waffle iron, so you might want to get a wad of damp paper towels to kind of clean it out. Just be really careful because the waffle iron will obviously be hot. I love to serve my Belgian waffles with Nutella, berries like strawberries or raspberries or even bananas, and a dollop of whipped cream on top. It is mind-boggling how good these are. It's one of my favorite desserts or special occasion breakfasts. Look how beautiful. Alright guys, so that's exactly how you make Belgian Liege waffles. I really hope you try this recipe out soon. For us, there's only the two of us, so we have tons of leftovers. I like to actually keep them in the freezer so we can have Belgian Liege waffles whenever we're craving them. What I do is I place the cooked waffles, I shave off about a minute of cooking time just so that they don't get overly browned and overcooked when I go to reheat them later. But basically, I put the finished waffles on a baking tray and pop that in the freezer and let them freeze until they're nice and solid. Then I'll go ahead and transfer them to a Ziploc bag. And the reason I do that is because I don't want the waffles to get all stuck together and frozen together. And they'll stay good for about 2 months in the freezer, though I doubt they'll last that long, if you even have any leftovers to begin with. And you can reheat the waffles in a 200-degree oven until they're nice and warmed through. And just remember, these waffles should always be served nice and warm or hot, because when the pearl sugar starts to cool off, it will harden. And so the best texture is served at a nice hot temperature. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments below what your favorite waffle toppings are. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.